people saying, oh, they felt inspired, they felt empowered. And so I was like, I'm going to start a movement. Like, this has to be more to it than this. I wrote a book, and the title of the book started out as hashtag I'm beauty inspired. So it wasn't just about being the book. It was all about starting a movement. So it started with the book, and then now you see the t-shirts, and then other things are starting to come with that as well, where there are workshops for young women and girls for all about them empowering themselves with inner beauty. Hey, Kelly.
Hi, Kelly.
Hi, Rebels.
Yeah, glad to see you. How are you?
Well.
Awesome, awesome. For those of you that just logged in and just joining us, we are the women of Rebel Radio, and we thought we'd spend this week just giving you an opportunity to get to know us. So right now, today, we're featuring Renee B. With Beauty School Scarlet. So she just got through telling us about her hashtag. And so Renee, if you can add that hashtag on a tweet, and we'll start tweeting about that. So she was just sharing info about that, and she was telling us about her book. So now, Renee, you wrote a whole book, child, a lot of pages.
Right. There is a book.
You was important.
Right, exactly. This is the book. It's hashtag I'm beauty inspired. So it's a keepsake journal of original beauty quotes and affirmations for young girls and women to inspire them to embrace their inner beauty and apply more self-love. You'll see that it has like the quote. I'm sure you can't read any of this, but you'll see it has the quote, the meaning of the quote.
See that.
And then questions at the end for them to journal their thoughts. So it's all about them having more of self-love and self-worth. The chapters are divided into different chapters where there's, you don't want to see that picture of me, so I'll turn from that. You'll see the beauty of strength, the beauty of courage, the beauty of wisdom, the beauty of inspiration, the beauty of motivation, the beauty of dreams, and the beauty of self-love.
So what led you to write about those things in your book? And furthermore, you made it a journal, which I think is kind of neat. So for those of you that haven't seen the book yet, again, she has quotes in there where you can write your response to the quotes or your thoughts for that particular day and that response. But what led you to actually choose those topics? Was it something that you were going through or something? What led you to that?
It's all about, to me, not just what I'm going through, but what I see others going through as well, too. The daily conversations that I have with family and friends. What is the importance of how you're going to get back to self-love? And I think that those are the most important subjects. So you have to have strength, you have to have courage, you have to have wisdom, you have to have inspiration, motivation, dreams, and then that gets you all to self-love. And the end result was all about self-love.
Okay, all righty. So let's talk a little bit about self-love. I'm going to change the topic to having self-love because I think that's kind of cool. And I think your book focuses a lot about self-love and appreciating yourself and who you are and what you do and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just going to shift the topic here. Sorry, I can't talk and type at the same time. I used to.
I'm trying,
right?
Read and pay attention too.
Right, that just doesn't happen in my world. So if we can talk a little bit about that. Do you think having self-love is something that just happens organically, or do you think, sometimes I feel like, people they have an epiphany sometimes, whether it be a traumatic incident or a healing process, and they get to that revelation of, you know what, I'm just going to love me where I am in the space that I am. So tell me a little bit about what it means for you in this book.
With self-love, what it means to me is just empowering myself to improve myself. How am I going to improve on a daily basis? How am I going to empower myself to learn the things that I need to love me? And that's what self-love means to me. And the different things that I go about doing that is I read affirmations every single morning. I read Bible verses every single morning. I sit, I meditate, and I think about how I'm going to set the tone for my day. And that also leads me to more self-love because it's all about taking that time for me. And I think that when we don't take that time for ourselves, we're robbing others of who we are, and we're robbing ourselves of loving ourselves even more.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That's so true. That's so true. Meditating is hard. It's very, very hard. And, those of us that have adult ADD like myself, I start meditating. I start off with a chant because that helps me sometimes. But then it's hard for me to just focus.
Right.
Yeah. And so tell me about your meditating process. How do you get in that headspace? Because I don't know, Kelly, do you have that problem?
Well, it puts me to sleep.
Yes.
So yeah, I start off meditating, and then I find myself thinking about purple elephants, and then it's tomorrow.
I agree. I totally agree. Yeah, it does. So Renee, so do you focus on a particular one of your quotes to start meditating with, or how do you really and then how long do you meditate? Like, do you set a timer? I'm trying to really get my head wrapped around meditating. I do it until I can't focus no more. I think
meditating is really all about you and what you want to get out of it. So you set your own time. I don't think that you should be like, oh, I'm going to meditate every day for 10 minutes.
Okay.
Some days you might need longer. Some days you got stuff to do and you just need to meditate real quick and just finish. Okay. And you need to avoid falling asleep.
I know. But you know what? I will say this. When I run, particularly in the summer, I do meditate because it controls my breathing, because I get a rhythm.
Okay.
I don't necessarily chant, but there are things that I say over and over, and it really clears my head. Now, if I could just transfer that into my daily life when I'm not running, then it would really work. But I agree, Renee, it really does help, create the tone for your day. Or if you're having a bad moment and you are able to start saying, let me slow down and let me rethink what's going on with me, it really, really does kind of change your whole aura.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. You made a good point, Kelly, is when you go and you run. When I walk, when it was warmer outside, I would go walk along the lake. And what I would do is I would take time to think about the things that are going on in my life. How do I want to better myself? What do I want to do to improve? How am I going to empower myself to do those things?
Yes.
And then once I started meditating, I started finding myself taking these pictures. And I was like, okay, I have a love for photography. That's something that I didn't figure out until I started meditating on some of the things that I wanted to do to empower myself.
Right.
So it's just, you don't have to meditate when you get up in the morning. You can meditate in the middle of the day. You can meditate at night before you go to bed. So you can meditate at any time during the day, and you can meditate doing anything. On your drive, turn off the music instead of listening to music.
Right.
And meditate about what you're going to do and where what you need to do and where you want to be in life. So it doesn't have to be just in the morning.
Absolutely. And I find it works for me. When I'm in the car, it keeps me from road raging. when I turn off I'm serious. When I turn off the radio and I'm just like, okay, let me get my thoughts together, it helps me to be calm, because I'm not a good rush hour traffic driver.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Can I just say you all's red lipsticks looks fabulous.
Oh, thank you. Girl cosmetics.
Huh?
Big girl cosmetics.
I need a hookup. Like, how am I a rebel and I don't have no new big girl cosmetics? You all told me to get rid of the ones that I have because they're too old.
Okay, we're going to get you some red lipstick. I'm going to get you some rouge, a little blush.
Thank you.
So, yeah, meditating is hard. And especially when you're a mom, the only time, so when I can meditate or get into that space, and it's just a prayer, meditative prayer or whatever you want to call it. And I usually have to do it early in the morning. So I've been getting up at 4 and 4:30 in the morning to work out.
God bless your meditation.
Girl, I'm trying to get the thick girl, the skinny thick girl. And they looking good because I like cupcakes. I said that. Anyway.
Don't worry about it. I ate a whole birthday cake this weekend.
And I made some chocolate chip cookies because of this lady in the grocery store was grabbing some. And I was like, oh, you shouldn't be alone. So I'll get some too.
Exactly. How about I stole a bunch of chocolate chip cookies from Golden Corral, and it's all you can eat.
Chocolate chip cookies.
I had to bring some home just cause.
Just cause. They were talking about that. I know this is off topic, but they were talking about I like Michael Strahan, And so he was saying how people are like stealing a lot of things out of these restaurants.
Oh yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, out of the Polo restaurant, they're stealing like the salt and pepper shaker and all these different things. That's funny. So you stealing cookies?
I'm stealing cookies.
My brother.
I don't steal useful things. Just
Cookie Monster.
Right. We're gonna get her a shirt that says Cookie Monster. That's funny. That's funny. My brother's friend steals shot glasses from bars. So
wow.
he has a whole cabinet in his house full of shot glasses from various restaurants.
I think that's a great collection. A collection of stolen stuff from restaurants.
That's for. So if you ever get caught, the police will go like, this does not belong here.
This says Hooters.
Right. That's funny. That's too funny. Yeah. So Renee, so the meditation and all of that, has led you through this kind of process. How, writing a book is hard, and again, I have ADD, so I can't, for me to finish these chapters will be a miracle in and of itself without
Kylie.
Girl, look. But what made you, or what helped you get through the process, the writing process? Because you write every day. So you have your blog, and you blog for not only Beauty School Scarlet, but you've also been a guest blog with other brands and things like that. And so what is it about writing that you love, that drives you to do it?
The funny thing is I've been writing poetry since the 8th grade.
Oh, wow.
Huh?
I said, oh, wow.
Yeah. So that has been I've always had a love for writing.
Yeah.
I think the moment that I fell in love with writing was when I was in high school. I can't remember what year it was. It was either junior or senior year, probably senior year. My English teacher, Mrs. Gregg is her name. She had us do an exercise on the Canterbury Tales. And I ended up we had to team up. And so the girl that I teamed up with, we rewrote the Canterbury Tales and modernized them and put them to music. And so that made me like really fall in love with writing at that time. And beauty, like I said, has always been a part of my life, which is strange because my mother and my grandmother, they don't even wear a lick of makeup. They never have. My mother wore it once in her life so far. And so I don't know where the love for beauty came from, but the two together has, it's the best of both worlds for me.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't know. And Kelly, you're a writer too. So I'm like, I guess maybe I'm I don't know, the artsy person in the bunch, because I do stuff when I write when I feel like it. Sometimes I don't always feel like it.
Yeah, well, that's me. I consider myself kind of a bootleg writer. I actually have my degree is actually in English writing, but
you said you're a bootleg writer.
I am. It's one of those things that I do well, but I don't do often. And when I sit down to write, I love it. I enjoy it because it helps me to put my thoughts on paper. But getting myself to sit down and do it is often difficult. So that's kind of my struggle. And I'm trying to get better with that since that is my career now. But it's writing is very it's kind of like meditation. It really helps you to get your thoughts out. I attended recently this event by the YMCA, and it was for youth, and it was and I don't want to mispronounce the name, but it was the YVSB Youth Violence something program. But it was strictly for young people who are able to verbalize their experiences in terms of writing and, audio, videotapes and things like that. And it was so powerful because these kids were actually given language to talk about what it is that they're experiencing. And I think that that's one of the beautiful things about writing, to be able to get your thoughts out, to encourage yourself, to kind of, make an impact just through words. It's so very important. And for something like Renee's book, and I know she works with youth and young girls, it's so empowering for young girls to be able to read something to make them feel better. And it's just the power of words that is so vitally important.
Yeah. Words do have a lot of power. They do have a lot of power there's a huge, force to be reckoned with when people use their words,
Right.
To create influence and that kind of thing. Y'all are so smart.
Oh, thanks.
So smart. I love it. I do. She rubs the baby hair.
I remember my big brain.
Okay, all right. Yes, you're right. Right. So Renee, tell us a little bit more about. So you're working on the second book, right? Was I supposed to say that?
Yes, supposedly.
It's rumored.
That's rumored.
It's alleged.
Yeah, right. I'm sort of kind of working on it every now and then. And that is supposed to come out in January, but I'm not really sure just yet. So,
tell us a little bit
yes,
about
I am
that.
working on the next book. Well, that book is going to be a little different. I'm beauty inspired, and it's all about the mind, body, and soul, and really taking lessons in how to enhance and empower yourself through your mind, body, and soul. So it's a 30-day challenge to get yourself going for the new year.
That would be great to launch in the new year because, everyone's, at the first of the year, I want to get fit and healthy. I want to eat better. I want to go to church more or stream church more online. Yeah. I'll say the bomb child. He has a lot of, powerful things that he's saying. So it's about, so you're going to do a 30-day challenge. And what do you have to, what's the commitment in this challenge? What do you have to do?
It's all about committing to your mind and your body and your soul. So there'll be challenges for each of those different things.
Do I have to give up wine?
No.
I'm sorry. Okay. Give up wine? You can actually, if you feel like you need to drink more wine without becoming an alcoholic, then hey, that's up to you. If that's going to encourage your, actually that helps your body.
Yeah, it does.
Because it helps the heart. Red wine.
I see a glass of red wine a day, I think is what they recommended somewhere on some health something. I don't know.
So is 3 glasses too much? Okay.
Well, it just depends on how big your glass is. See, I just get a really big glass.
And then you drink one of those?
So it's really like 2.5 glasses of wine.
I'm with
it
is what later. It is. I'll have to post. I saw a huge wine glass in, I think I was in Marshall's this weekend and saw a huge, tall wine glass. I was like, yes, I need that one. It was like this tall. So, yeah, so I didn't buy it though because I was worried that I might use it. So, but yeah, so challenges and doing. I think anytime you can commit yourself to doing something for 30 days. What's the rule of thumb, Kelly? Remember with the rule of thumb, if you do it for 30 days, it becomes habit, or
it's 21 days. It becomes a habit.
Yeah, 21 days. But for me, the people on the slow bus, I need 30. I need the extra day.
30. That's okay.
I need 30 days. 21. All right, I'm getting in the rhythm. But 30 days, I'm definitely gonna do it. Definitely gonna do it. What does your shirt say, Renee?
My shirt says, "I'm the exception to the rule."
Oh, cool.
I'm
cool. And those shirts, are those on your website?
Those are on my website and my Spreadshop shirt. You can get it in different colors, and there's different sayings as well too. And there's also sweatshirts that are available. And it's shop.spreadshirt.com/ABeautyScarlet.
Yeah, so
forget about that.
One book, and I've known Renee for a little while. Those of you that are just checking in. Hi, Nina. Thank you for joining us. Feel free to ask any questions if you want. You can type it in the message section, or you can join in on the open seat. We have one open seat available if you'd like to join in. And it's okay if you're in your pajamas because literally I just have on a nice shirt and his pajamas underneath. Okay. I have on blush and brows.
We don't want to see.
But anywho, so it's always a challenge, I think, to as women, I think for us to nurture our mind, body, and soul. And especially with all the things that are going on. So what advice can you give to folks, Renee and Kelly, for women, especially trying to juggle it all, and I don't know if you really can have it all, if you can be, all things to all people, including yourself, but what advice can you give to women?
I would say that don't think that you can do it all, because it's impossible to try and do everything and be everything to everyone. Sometimes you just have to say, I need to focus on me today. And that's okay. Because like I said earlier, is that if you don't take the time to focus on you, you're not going to be any good to anyone else. So take that time first and then give to others. And you'll be much better off that way, and you'll stop stressing yourself out. I can't remember the lady that we had to talk with. I want to say that I'm a member of an organization called ColorCom, Women of Color and Communications. And we have something called Dinner and Dialogue, and it was with the VP, and I can't remember her name. I want to say it was Zandra Zuno, but I'm not really sure. And we asked her the question about balance, and how does she balance being this big, huge VP and CEO and on the board and home life and all of those things. She was like, I don't. There is no such thing as balance. You can find balance. And I agree to disagree with her, because I think that you can find balance, but you have to find it in different times. You just can't, say, oh, I'm going to balance today and this is what I'm going to do today. You have to find different times and different moments to balance the things that are going on in your life. Whether it's writing a list or whether it's doing other things, you got to find that balance.
I work under the good enough principle. There's some things that I have to be excellent at. And those things, in terms of work and things like that. But everything else is just kind of good enough. If it's good, my house doesn't have to be perfectly clean every day. It's okay if my daughter eats fast food once every 2 weeks. I don't put myself under the pressure where I have to be like this super person every single day, because that's stressful. It's stressful and it's impossible. And I think it's a little arrogant to think that we can. I think that we have to prioritize. We have to, when it's time for us to give 100% to something, we have to focus on that thing at that time. And then everything else is just good enough. So as long as, my house is not falling in and my daughter is clean, going to school, I'm good with that. At least on Mondays, which she is today. She paid her and combed her hair.
Child, because Ellis, he has on mismatched socks, and I think his sweater was on backwards, but he was clean.
He made it to school on time. So
and he got ready.
That's right.
That's what's important.
Yeah,
That's okay.
I was having a conversation with one of my sorors, Delta Sigma Theta. Anyway, she was talking about her daughter, and she has one older daughter that we had. I say we had when she was in college, when we were in college, because we really did. It took a village to raise her, and so she has 2 younger children now. And she said, you know what? I've just gotten to the point where I'm gonna leave my kids the hell alone, and they just gonna have to figure it out.
Right.
And her kids aren't small children. They're a little bit older, tweens or what have you, and a little bit younger. But and sometimes it gets to that point as a parent where you're just like, you know what? I've done the best I can do.
Yeah.
The rest is up to you.
Yeah.
And I remember my mother saying that, because I was a very, I think, difficult child in some respects. Once I hit the principal's office every other day, phone calls from school. Anyway, but I think it got to the point where she was just like, you know what? I've raised you. I've instilled, what I can in you. And hell, you just gonna have to figure it out from there. I'm just gonna back up.
Yeah.
And that's really what I think. Parenting is a different style of parenting and different style of being as a woman, and just not, recognizing that you can't do everything, that you can't be here, you can't be there, all at the same time, and still look fly. Like I got on pajamas, but I got my brows on. I had to make a choice here. I chose brows.
Exactly. But yeah, I think that's absolutely important, to understand. And especially when you're talking about kids, and not that this interview is about parenting our children, but at some point people have to learn how to make decisions for themselves. And I think that's a healthy part of development for kids, which gets us to the point where we are today, where we're able to make those decisions about what is best for me, what things are working well for me, what works best for me right now, and how do I make that happen. And I think that starts in allowing young people to make decisions and make mistakes. And I was told, I was in a business class once, and the teacher said, when you're stuck, make a decision. If you decide that that's not the right decision, make a different decision later, but make a decision to move you forward. And I think that that's kind of what we're talking about, even in terms of balance. Make a decision today about what's going to work, what's going to be best for you right now today, so you don't get stuck and mired in, trying to do everything at the same time, and then you end up on, medication. But, maybe that's just me. But we do have to, figure out how to make life work. And sometimes that's not always at 100%.
Right.
And I was in school, 95 was still an A-.
You shot for those?
I did.
See, I just couldn't bring home D's and F's. And I think my mother knew her child because, I don't know, C's were okay.
These were okay. Well, in my C classes, which were like math, I just cheated. So I still got to the A-, whether it was the right way or not. Hell, I got in college. That's all that matters.
Right. Hey, that's all that matters. That's all that matters. Yeah, but I think it's always an interesting balancing act. Just, whether you have children or not, just even balancing being, a good friend and a good companion to your spouse or your mate or a significant other. I think all of those things are choices that we make as women. And Kelly, you said something that was really interesting, and I posted it. And now I can't remember what I said. But you said when you get stuck, that's what it was. When you get stuck, make a choice and move on. And I think it's hard. It's hard to do that. It's very hard to do that. Because sometimes, you have, and I'm a very, very goal-oriented person. So when stuff doesn't go according to the plan or according to the goal, then I'm just like, sometimes I freeze. And you're right. You just have to make a decision and move on. And I like that. I like that a lot. Let me give you some props for that. Yay. Props.
Hands up.
Your props. Make it rain. So, but that's so important. So important. So Renee, let's talk a little bit about entrepreneurship. So you are an entrepreneur, and tell us a little bit about your journey through entrepreneurship. All three of us are entrepreneurs, of course, but this is Renee's day. So tell us about your journey to entrepreneurship and, doing it for yourself.
Woo, where do I
a real
start? Oh my God. So I have worked for a lot of great companies, and I've learned a lot of great things. And I think that, working for companies for some people is great. However, for me, I felt like I worked so hard, but I wasn't really appreciated. And if I'm going to work this hard, I may as well do it for myself, because I know that I'm going to try and make this work the best way that I can. Here I am making you millions of dollars. Why not make myself millions of dollars? So that's what the decision that I came to. Also, I had been sick for a while. And I was like, I told my doctor, just give me some time. I just need 2 weeks. If you give me 2 weeks, I promise you when I come back here, I'll be good. Mm-hmm. But I just need to start what's going on in my head. And I did that. And in 2 weeks, I came back, and it was actually, it was my blood pressure that was high. When I went back, my blood pressure was basically back to normal. He was like, what did you do? It's like, I started my own business.
No, I said, right.
I'm sorry. Yeah, so I started my own business, and that was the start of everything for me, to being healthier mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Because it gives me something that I want to do and have hope for, that I want to empower the world with, and hopefully make a difference.
Yeah, isn't it funny how, you have to kind of be thrown into a situation where you're forced to make a choice. Now, do you think you would have made the choice to go down the path of entrepreneurship? Because there are a lot of people that are out there that are thinking about it and wondering and, well, I might, I should, I think, I want. But do you think that for those folks that are in that stage, what do you think, needs to happen? Or what do you, because some of us are forced, I was put in a situation where I was forced into entrepreneurship. I had been doing it kind of on the outskirts with the day job, so I was safe, but was forced into it with health challenges. So for those people that are stuck and haven't made that decision, I guess is my question. What do you think they need to do in order to take that next step and move into that path of entrepreneurship?
I think that if something makes you uncomfortable, you need to go after it and you need to do it. That is the one big thing that I've learned.
My life.
Hey, Keith.
Hey, Keith.
Next we'll enter the dog.
Right, I had to put Joe. She's scratching on the door like, please, I want to get out.
Right.
You might see my cat running around here somewhere sooner or later. I'm
right. Hey, this is
sweet.
real life.
Exactly. And that's what happens in real life. You get interruptions and that's okay. But I think that with, like I was saying, if something makes you uncomfortable, I think you need to go after it and do it. It's something that's telling you to do that. Sometimes, yes, we are forced into these situations. And I had been praying and saying, God, give me a sign, help me. Like, what do I need to do? Where do I need to go? And I knew that I wasn't happy in the job that I was in. And I kept praying for change. Little did I know that change was for me to leave that job. And I was too scared to do it. And so he pushed me out there and forced me to make that decision for me. And that's, how I became an entrepreneur. Sometimes it still gets hard for me where I think, oh, my God, I need to go back to work. Like, what about this or what about that? How am I going to make this happen? How am I going to make that happen? There is always a way to make it happen. And don't be afraid to make that step, to make that choice. You will never know unless you try. And you'll always be wondering, well, what if? Shoulda, coulda, woulda, but I didn't. And you'll regret it.
And that's hard to live life without regrets. I think prior to having kids, that's, I live life fast and hard, and I don't want to have any regrets, and it's hard. I think the older I get, I don't even know if it's kids. I think just the older I get, the more, I guess, less riskier I'm willing to be, if that makes sense. But yeah, it is hard. It is hard to get on out there. What are some challenges that you faced as an entrepreneur? So we know, like you said, you have to work, if you want to eat, you have to go out there and, hunt your food down. So what are some other challenges besides being a hunter and a gatherer?
Right. So, I mean, just, making sure that you're putting out that my brand message stays on track. That's a big challenge. And that I'm sending out the right messages. I'm always representing my brand. You can see here, my necklace says A Beauty Scarlet. I have on a t-shirt. When I'm out there, am I representing my brand to the best of the ability? That's always a challenge because somebody's always going to have something negative to say. You're always going to be haters, and that's okay. But making sure that, you are pushing me to be better. So thank you, haters. But making sure that you are always representing your brand to the best of your ability, your brand that's going to make you happy, and that you're getting the message out there. Marketing is also another huge thing. I think that we tend to say, oh, social media can do all the marketing for us, or that we don't need to seek help. And sometimes to get your thoughts clear, I seeked out a coach to get my thoughts clear because I had so many going on in my head. And I was like, I know that I want to do this. I just don't know how to do it. So the biggest problem for me sometimes is asking for help. And me getting a coach was a big, major step for me. And when I tell you that she helped me to get to where I am to write this book, I struggled with writing this book. I wanted it to be 365 days worth of quotes. And when I got stuck on writing the quotes, she was like, well, why are you so stuck on writing 365 days worth of quotes? Common sense would be like, duh, just don't do 365 days, just do 30. But I needed her to get me to that because I was so wrapped up in the book that I couldn't necessarily get my thoughts across. And that helped me out so much. So don't be afraid to ask for help when you need it. And I want to say thanks and shout out to Donna Smith Bellinger for helping me do that to get to where I am today and publishing this book. Because without her, I think it would have gotten published. It just would have taken a lot longer to get there.
Yeah, we interview Donna because she is definitely awesome. Yes. I've been to a couple of her speaking engagements, and she's definitely an awesome force to be reckoned with. So you mentioned haters. So how do you deal when it's folks? And sometimes when you're starting a business and you're starting a brand, and you're putting your heart and your soul and everything out there. How do you deal with folks? Because sometimes those haters can be your friends and your family. And you're like, girl, I don't know, I wouldn't do that. I'm doing a good job. So how do you deal with haters and the naysayers and the people that don't have your back? Because sometimes everybody, that's there, they're not all for you. So how do you deal with that? How do you handle that? Do you have any situations or something?
That's so funny that you said it because I'm like, oh my God, I went through that where my mother was like, well, and not that my mother is a hater. I'm not saying that by any means because my mother supports everything that I do. But if she doesn't understand something, she might be kind of sideways hating on it.
Not a hater, but she'd be like, girl, you know how much you make a year?
Right.
Good job. Oh, okay.
And I think that's common for and not to interrupt you, Renee, but we talk about this all the time. I think that's common for people who love you. They want you in a safe space. Your mom wants to know that you're not going to get kicked out of your apartment. So what do you mean you're like quitting your job to go do something unknown? And I think that, it's just like, with kids, like even with when I look at, things that Noah does, like she wants to explore, but I'm like, ooh, don't fall. But I have to let her do it. And it's not that I'm trying to hold her back, and certainly not that your mom is necessarily hating, but she wants you to be in a safe space. And I just think that that's, one of the things that we get from people who love us, not just our parents, but it could be our spouse or anybody who just wants to make sure we're okay.
I agree. And then you'll have those haters, like you're the naysayers or the people that are jealous of you as well, too. And I think the way to overcome that is to find people that are like-minded. So I found a lot of different groups to be a part of. For example, on Facebook, there's a Facebook group of bloggers like me that I'm a part of, that they are very supportive system and they give lots of great information. They are encouraging. So sometimes I may not participate in the things that they're talking about in the group, but I can read other people's things that they're going through. And I'm like, oh my God, they're going through the same thing that I'm going through. That gives me encouragement. Find your inner circle. Your inner circle is extremely important. And a group of friends that will support you and encourage you. A lot of my friends will say, well, what can I do to help? And things of that sort. So find an inner circle that will help you and support you in the things that you need to expand. And so, just getting out there and networking with other people. So whether it's, like I said, a Facebook group, a meetup group, or whatever the case is, network and bring those ideas together.
It's always hard to find kind of your tribe, right? When you're starting business, because there are, hi, Sandra, thanks for joining us. It's hard to find a group of folks to be in your tribe, and sometimes you have to shift gears. I know when I started out as a school administrator and decided to leave that because of, stress from my health. I have lupus and all of those different things. And there were so many people that were saying that I not leave, that I stay the course, your goal was to be a superintendent and all of those things. And yeah, those were my goals, but things change, but handling those haters and those people that are out there like, I wouldn't do that if I were you, or maybe you should do it this way. Everybody has, who's not on your road, you're on your journey. They always have something to say. And so then, finding a tribe of people that will support you, I think is important. And whether that's, sometimes you have to step outside of that box, like you said, Renee, and really look at some other groups and network with some, some like-minded people, whether that's, meetups or groups, on LinkedIn, and, finding your tribe is so key. It's so important. Kelly, I think we lost you on video. I don't know if that's a sign from Keith, but but finding your tribe is so important, and I think that's how you deal with some of those naysayers and haters that, so that's so true. That's so true. And even when it comes from your mom, because I know my mother, she always is like, well, y'all can't move back in here. You got too many kids. You gonna have to figure it out because you can't come back home. So, and I know she's joking. Right. I hope. I think. Anyway, but, she's been very supportive. And the funny thing about it, when I was dealing with some adversity with my business, because things got really hard for a minute, really hard for me personally, and business-wise and personally, went through a lot of challenges. And I considered at one point just going back to work, going back. And my mother was like, "You sure? You've done so well. You've come so far." And I was just like, "Well, who the hell?" I didn't know who she was. I was like, "You talking to me?" You talking to me? No. But, so it's funny, those folks that, you really have to find your tribe, and those folks that will have your back and stay in your corner. So tell me, Renee, how do you stay focused then? How do you keep on your task? So you mentioned you had a coach that kind of got you going and got you to the point where you finished your book and helped you focus those goals. So going forward, do you still have this coach, or are you able to practice some of the principles that she taught you to stay the course and stay your journey?
I don't have a coach right now, but I do practice a lot of what she's taught me. And it's a daily thing to stay on track. So I get distracted very easily. So it's, I just have to say, okay, this is what I need to do. And when I set goals for myself, that's when it becomes easier for me, because I'm like, okay, this has to be done by XYZ. And I am the queen of procrastination. Oh my God. I will procrastinate until the very end. And you think, oh my gosh, she's been working on this and it's so great, blah, blah, blah. This book literally was in the 11th hour before I sent it in to the publisher to get it done. I was still editing stuff. So,
Kelly's back.
Sorry.
Technical difficulties.
Turn your sound down, Kelly.
I'm trying.
I feel like we're in the Star Wars movie. Slow mo. I mean, percolate.
That is weird.
Log out and log back in.
Okay.
There
Got
we go.
it? Yay. All right, cool. Yay, she's back.
I'm back.
All
I'm
right.
under my other identity.
Okay. All right. So I think my sound is still pretty loud. What sound is that? We're getting like feedback. Or better?
Is this better?
Better.
I think. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. All right. So it is difficult. So what things? Give us some of the things that you do to stay focused and stay the course. What are like your top 3 things that you do?
My top 3 things that I do is I make a list of what I need to accomplish for the week, and I prioritize it. I mean, I know that seems like, oh, everybody does that. Yeah, I'm sure that everybody does, but that is definitely what helps me. But I also reevaluate throughout the day and throughout the week too, to see what I need to change, because I think that we don't always take the time to say, what do I need to change? Is it working? Am I doing okay? So just having that self-check in the middle of the day or at the end of the day, and then carrying on whatever I need to carry on to the next day. So that definitely keeps me focused. And again, surrounding myself with people who are like-minded. That's part of the reason why we're together as Rebel Talk Radio. We have a lot of the same things on our agenda that we want to do and we want to accomplish. And I feel the need to surround myself with people who are like-minded as me. So that is another thing that I do.
Kelly, what do you do to kind of stay focused and stay the course in business?
it's a couple of things. So I'm a list checker, and I talk about this a lot especially when I do parenting workshops and things like that. But I think it's important to write things down so that they're visual. Oh my God, that's an ugly picture that I'm stuck on. Am I moving on you all's computer?
No, you're not moving.
There you go. You're moving now.
Okay. But I like to make lists to keep myself focused, to check off, to make sure that I'm moving things forward. Mm-hmm. Am I moving again?
Nope, you're frozen. But we can hear you.
You hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay. And I do that. And I also think that it's important, like Renee said, to have groups that support you, even if they're not doing the same things you're doing, but if they're like-minded and they can give you input, and positive feedback to help you keep moving. Things that are most vital to me to really keep myself together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's major.
Yeah, lists are important. Lists are really important. For me, I do kind of, these overarching things I do them quarterly, what my business goals are for the quarter. And then once I do them for the quarter, Kelly is like going back and forth. Oh.
She was giving us helping us to remix this.
Yeah, that's the remix. So it is very difficult. So I do goals by the quarter. And then once I set those goals, then I'm okay. And then I have the goals and all of that. Are you okay, Kelly? We got you on?
Okay, how about now?
All right.
Much
better. So, so that helps, really having those goals.
I'm having technical difficulties. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Having those goals set in stone and kind of put down. And so anyway, so I start with the quarter, my goals for the quarter in business. So whether that be to gain an additional 20 clients, to whatever those goals are, right? Whether it be to improve my logistics and shipping, my customer visibility, whatever my goals are for that particular quarter. And then I break it down by the month. And every month I try and tackle some of those goals. And again, I try to be an organized person in my mind. In my mind, I'm organized. Like I know where everything is and I know where it fits. You can't walk into it though.
Right.
No, it's just
an organized mess. So I get that.
Yes, organized mess. So, but I think that's important, is to make sure that your goals are clear and that you share your goals with someone else so you have that accountability.
Yeah.
In business, when you're in business for yourself, that's so key, is having that accountability partner. And that's where these groups and things are so key. They're so important. Having that accountability partner or accountability group of people saying, hey, Renee, I know you were working on your marketing pitches for, quarter 1, 2016. How's that coming? Do you have your first set of, so that's important. That's definitely important. Kelly, do you have anything that you want to add?
To goal setting?
Yeah.
Well, I know I like vision boards.
Yes.
And I don't do them often, but I have done them before. But even a vision board, and so I carry, like I tell kids all the time, like carry a notebook with you. So every time that you have an idea, you can write it down. And even though that's not directly a vision board, I'm actually using pictures and things like that, though I have done that before, and that's very, very powerful. But also my notebook is my vision board, because when I write it down, it's like I put it into the universe. And so now I'm accountable to it. And it kind of, focuses my mind around those things that I say I want to do. And so, it helps me to start noticing things that can move me forward, collecting information that can move my goals forward and things like that. So I'm really, really big on, writing it down, making it visual. One, I'm a visual learner. I'm a very visual learner. But, to be able to visualize it, to see it, not just say it, but to actually see it written on paper helps me to kind of focus around getting it done.
Yeah. I think those are real, and I'm moving further and further away from paper and pencil, and I do a lot of things so that I can have, because I'm on, 1 of 3 computers throughout a day. And so I use the Evernote app. So computer meaning my laptop, my desktop, and then my telephone, because I do a lot of mobile work, work outside of the office. But, and I use an app called Evernote, which I think is awesome. And I'm able to take pictures Yeah, and jot down my ideas and my thoughts, and then I can pick it up, from one device to the next.
Right.
Or if I'm in the middle of, something, and no telling with the kids, I could be at a football game with my kids in the rain, and I pull out my phone and I jot down some ideas that I may have had, or record something, or whatever it is. So I think that's important. Definitely writing it down, seeing it, and checking it visually. And the other thing I do, which may be a little kooky, but I'll put them in my calendar as a recurring theme every single day, so that you know how you can repeat things on your calendar on iCal, and so that I see it the first thing I see every morning. So whether it's a quote that I'm using to move me through something difficult that I'm going through personally or business wise, or it's something that I need to focus on and complete a project or a goal for that particular quarter or month or week, and that'll be a recurrence. So it's the first thing that I see and the first thing as I start my day. So if I'm starting my day at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, that's the first thing that's on my calendar, so I know that it's accountable. Because once it's on my calendar, it's like it's there. As Jesus wrote it.
That's right.
It's in the Bible. I need to put in the Bible, don't eat that cupcake at 12 o'clock.
Right. Or those chocolate chip cookies you baked last night.
What I stole yesterday.
Those must have been damn good
They're
cookies.
not even that good.
You just rolled up on the way. She was like, break yourself.
Right.
Damn cookies.
What's up with them chocolate chip cookies, though?
Everyday conversations that we have. So sorry.
Yeah, but it is definitely hard, to stay focused. Any closing words that you'd like to share, Renee and Kelly?
I'll go first so Renee can close out her interview. Just one of the things that I think is so important, and I think is the beauty of why I'm so glad that the three of us got together to create something. Even though we're all vastly different, we have different things going on, different business adventures. Not just ventures, but adventures. But I think it's so vitally important for women to support one another. And one of the things that I want to commit to doing in 2016 and kind of growing, all the things that we're doing together, is really committing to help and support other women. Even if I'm not necessarily your market or someone who's going to take part in your business, but if I can just support you to say, hey, what are you doing? How can I help? How can I support? That's one of the things that I want to do. And that's one of the things that I think is so important in terms of, just making sure that we are successful and seeing the success of others. That's one of the things that I want to, I just wanted to put out there. And, I'm going to buy Renee's next book as well. But, also putting our money toward women ventures. I think that's really important as well.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That is important. That is definitely important. Renee?
Yeah, I definitely agree with Kelly, is that it's definitely a vital thing that we do is to support other women. So many times you see on these different shows, these women tearing each other down, and they're fighting and they're jumping across tables and they're doing this and they're doing that. And the image that they're portraying is just really crazy to just be able to push their brand and to expose themselves. And people think that we're like this all the time. Right. And it also sets a bad example for the young women that are coming.
Yeah.
So I think that it's very important not for us to only support each other as women, but support the young women that are coming. Be examples to them. Show them who they, show them what they need to do. Be a role model. Be an example to them and give them that encouragement and empower them to love who they are, and that they don't have to be these other women, that they can be their very own celebrity.
Sure.
And I think that is extremely important to helping our young women grow.
I agree.
Yeah, so true. So true. And it's hard to, I think, as there are a lot of women out there that feel that, supporting someone else takes your shine away. But to me, when you shine, I shine. And hell, there's enough stars out here for us all to shine together.
Absolutely.
And how can I help you? And how can you help me? And how can we grow, together? So that's really important. Well, I've enjoyed talking to you ladies as always.
Yeah, it was fabulous. Our first podcast. Yeah.
Yay. So those of you that have joined us, thank you very much. I'm Kylie Renee.
I'm Kelly Michelle.
And I'm Renee B. And you can follow us on Rebel Talk Radio on Twitter. And you can also check us out on Facebook on Rebel Talk Radio. You can check out our website.
OneRebelRadio.com. And if you have show ideas or topics or questions, we don't have to end the chat here. You can definitely email us. Go to our website again, OneRebelRadio.com, or Facebook or Twitter, and we'd be happy to answer any of your questions. Our next show will be Wednesday, same bat time, same bat channel, with Kelly Michelle, and she's going to chat. Woo, hey, go Kelly. Go Kelly. That'll be our next show with Kelly. She's going to talk about her brand, the She Spots, and also her other brands, Parenting in Color. And so we're excited to hear about that. And Kelly has a lot going on. So you definitely don't want to miss that. And then followed by me on Friday. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. It's girl.
There's so much.
Right.
Bring your tea.
Oh, Kylie, can we drink wine during your interview?
We're going to need some wine to get through it. Some wine, some Kleenex, whatever you because it's going to be, whew. Anyway, I done been through some things.
Haven't we all, right?
Let's talk about it.
Yes. So anytime that you have any questions for us, again, definitely reach out to us. And we have enjoyed blabbering with you today. All right. This is Kylie Renee with Rebel Talk Radio, and we are out.
Deuces.
Bye.
Peace out.